It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Thank goodness it's time for a cup of coffee because I need it. I'm William Holtz. This is Uncle Chris, and it's time for your weekly cup of coffee with Will and Chris right here at Slumberland at the lake. You never know who you're going to run into when you come into Slumberland.
Just met some stars from
Brent Simpson,
Lake
the owner
Expo.
and publisher of Lake Expo. Him and his family shopping for their new house. And they're smart. They know when they're going to furnish their new house at the lake, you got to shop at Slumberland at the lake. And speaking of our good friends at Slumberland, let's find out what's going on right here.
Hey guys, Daryl with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. I know it has seemed like a year of endless summer, but actually Memorial Day's coming up, and do we have a sale for you? We've got 25% off of all of our Slumberland low tagged price items, and we have tons of stuff that can go today. I'm talking semi-loads. On top of that, we just got a shipment of outdoor furniture in, so I'm going to show you some great pieces. So you're going to want to come take advantage of this Memorial Day sale, where we have discounts, 48 months interest-free financing. Come see us at Slumberland, where it's always a good life.
And we're back. Boy, I just love them here at Slumberland.
Yep, me too. Wonderful people. I mean, everybody that is here, just the nicest people. They're always happy. They're always smiling. It's great to work with.
And knowledgeable. I never really knew sometimes how much went into staging a room of your home, your entire home, and a lot of the things you don't think about when it comes to the importance of your sleep with pillows, the different type of mattresses that you might need. They're the experts, and they'll let you try those things out and get you on your way.
Well, and you just learned that firsthand, right? You just got a new bed. You'd had a hard time sleeping for years in the old bed. You get a new bed, all of a sudden, Wild Will's out like a light, man.
I lowered my ears automatically. Everything was golden, and yeah, sleeping good courtesy of our friends right here at Slumberland at the lake. So we're going to start with our lake headlines. A lot of lake headlines this week. In the first story, some idiot driving around, hitting some docked boats, and apparently the Missouri State Highway Patrol is still looking for this individual. This all courtesy of our friends at Lake Expo. What can you tell us about this story?
So authorities still looking for, they don't know who was driving the boat, crashed into two other docked boats, all right? I mean, you kind of have to work at crashing into docked boats.
That or you have to be drunk.
That's probably it, actually. So according to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, the individual was in a 30-foot rinker in the Southwest Shores Condominiums Cove, collided with a 27-foot low pontoon and Bayliner Rendezvous, both which were docked. They weren't moving. So yeah, I'm guessing alcohol was probably involved. You know, that's one of the scary things about the lake becoming so much more popular.
Yeah.
I mean, you get people that come in, they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They don't know how to drive a boat, you know, and they go get a boat and all of a sudden they're flying all over the place. I mean, it's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, but you don't have it happen often. We had that first one that was reported in April, which was a different one. It was a fishing boat, another story. And you would just have to think alcohol was involved because, I mean, they're docked. So you obviously want to stay away from the dock unless it's yours. And my other thought is, it shouldn't be awfully hard to find. If they know it's a rinker, there's got to be some kind of damage to this, right?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, they know that it was a 30-foot rinker, so they know what boat to look for. Like you say, there's got to be damaged. If he hit two boats, so you would think they'd be able to find that one fairly easy. And this is the second major incident because back, about a month ago, a Stratish fishing boat was overtaken by a Skeeter fishing boat, ran over him basically, and so you get this happening.
And that guy fled the scene.
Yeah.
And that was actually, the guy that got hit was a 61-year-old guy, and he had minor injuries. Now, he did decline to get treatment, and but the
he was
boat
probably tough like me. Don't need treatment, man.
But man, that's scary. In both, they know the type of boat, and you think, like I said, you think because there should be some damage, you might be able to find it. But think about being the Missouri State Water Patrol and all the boats and all the docks and all the places and slips and different storage there are around this lake. I mean, it may not be as easy as we think, but yeah, I would imagine got to be damage. Of course, if you have any information or any leads, the Missouri State Highway Patrol is asking that you reach out to them in their Water Patrol division.
You know, and it always interested me when we're out boating around to see, you know, the kids on the tubes. And you wonder sometimes what the parents are thinking.
Yeah.
Because they're out there in the busiest part of the lake pulling their kids on a tube flying around. And if they fly off, you know, I mean, there's a chance they could get run over by another boat. So that you got to be careful about that stuff.
Absolutely do. And luckily there's events. Last weekend there was a boater safety course with the Lake Ozark Water Alliance and the Safety Council. And there's lots of different things throughout the years and different marinas that hold those for that very reason, because people need to be educated. They need to understand. And when it comes to tubing, main channel, especially during the weekend, not probably the wisest, even with your safety flag, taking all precautions. I mean, when you get that many vessels in that little bitty area, a person in a life jacket, it's going to be hard to make a maneuver and miss them if you're coming up, 30, 40 miles an hour in your cruiser and you see them at the last second. So, just a little piece of advice from Uncle Chris and Will, and believe me, we don't give good advice if you remember the bear story.
A lot of times we're wrong.
I will tell you, be careful when it comes to your towables and your water fund this year. A lake will be busier. Doesn't mean that it can't be avoided. Just got to be a little more cautious. All right, so this one's a cool one. Chris, it's not cool because there's murder involved, but it's cool because it's a cold case.
Yeah. From
way back when, nearly 36 years, it looks like the family may end up getting some peace and some closure. So murder, it isn't a murder for hire. There's another thing happened, I think in 1984 down here, and it looks like we finally have a murder charge, and we don't have a conviction yet, but we do have a murder charge, and we do have an arrest. What can you tell us about this crazy story that, as cold as it has gotten, 36 years later, looks like they have it solved?
You know, and everybody knows what a cold case is because, it's been a popular TV show, right? It's a case that from long time ago, over time it goes cold and stuff. Well, this one, as you said, from 1984, apparently everybody who lived at the lake at that time, I mean, this was the story of the year, the talk of the town, because the girl that was murdered was a very popular person. Everybody knew who she was. So and we've talked about the new Camden County prosecutor, Caleb Cunningham. In his first couple of weeks, he announces that a no-bond warrant had been issued for a guy named Larry Gene Hicks, who lived here back in 1984, had since moved to Louisiana, and they charged him for the murder of Diane Lukosius 36 years ago, second-degree murder, Class A felony. So Lukosius was a 30-year-old dental assistant, and it was right around Christmas time. She had been at a Christmas party, apparently was going home, and then they found her body. 1989, this Hicks guy was identified as a person of interest. His family was interviewed. His stepdaughter said that he was a violent drunk with a history of beating her, and yet apparently they still didn't have enough evidence. But this year, January of this year, Camden County officers go to Louisiana, interview this guy again, apparently there, and he's now like 80 years old. And Hicks, when he was questioned this time, he reportedly answered, "I think about the beer and the time lapse, and it's very possible." Wow. I mean, he almost admitted doing it. He also made the statement, "I can't say that I didn't do it," right? So it's almost like he is admitting to it now. And of course, there's still a whole trial to come on this, innocent until proven guilty, but that's why he has been arrested now. And after 36 years, about time. And the family, Lukosius family, is still around, so this would be some closure for them.
Yeah, it's crazy because she was found just mangled in a ditch outside of Camelot Estates, which is very familiar to a lot of people locally. And apparently Hicks, who lived with his wife at the time, and his stepdaughter, their house had view of Lukosius's home, meaning he knew when she would get home. And she was on her way from a party, and he was already a big drinker and admitted to that night being very, very drunk. And when he came home, his wife told the authorities that he had blood on his clothes, he had scratches on his face, and the very next day following this, his coworkers who were interviewed and his family was interviewed again later said that his behavior immediately changed. He started to come to work drunk. He was not doing the same things. He quit fishing, which was one of his favorite things to do. And it's almost as if he was trying to figure out how to get over, like one would probably try to do if you ever murdered somebody, how you'd be able to live with yourself. And crazy enough, he had apparently went to Louisiana and for the last 30 plus years built and lived a fairly normal life from what the authorities say, which is just crazy, but just goes to show justice does prevail, even if 36 years later. Of course, this trial yet to happen, so we'll keep you guys posted on that. But great job to the Camden County Prosecuting Office, to all the authorities, everyone involved, because I certainly know that 36 years later, if I was still around and one of my family members had went through that been taken from us, I'd still want justice 36 years later.
Well, time's a funny thing. You know, I mean, I'm a lot older than you, so I remember 1984, and it doesn't seem that long ago.
A lot older.
You know, you weren't even born in 1984. So, you know, I mean, but time is a weird thing like that. And for the family members, I'm sure it's still fresh.
Yeah.
You know, it still hurts. It's still right there. So it's kind of sweet that hopefully they'll be getting some closure and some justice.
And just a sad deal in all. I was unfamiliar with the story until we looked into it for our show. Just crazy. All right, so changing the angles a little bit here, a little bit different topic. We talk about bears and we talk about babes. We talk about a lot of crazy things. How about UFOs, Chris? Are there UFOs in the sky around the lake?
Gosh, you know, UFOs have become a big story lately.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? I mean, a whole lot of the government even coming out and admitting, okay, there's a whole lot of UFO stuff going on. We don't know what it is.
All over the lake there's UFOs,
Well,
right?
I'm telling you, it's pretty spooky, right? So actually, you know, there's always UFO sightings, right? I mean, even here at the Lake of the Ozarks, but it seems like those are going up. But it might have something to do with your buddy Elon Musk.
Yeah, baby.
Right? I mean, because he's got this whole SpaceX, the satellite thing going up. And I mean, I think most of us have seen at night, you see that string of lights, right? And you're going, what is that? Well, those are those satellites that he's putting up there. And I think a lot of people are seeing those and saying, oh, it's a UFO or something. In this case, it's not. Elon's company SpaceX has been firing satellites into low orbit, and we see those a lot of times, and you'll see them in a line there. His aim is to bring high-speed internet to unserved places, not just in the U.S., but all over the world, right? I mean, a lot of us here at the Lake of the Ozarks, we know in certain places where they didn't have high-speed internet, you were kind of in trouble, you know. I mean, you didn't have many options there. Thank goodness for Como. They're expanding and, you know, getting into a lot of places, not just great TV where you get Lake TV, Channel 90 on Como, but good high-speed internet. So he's putting these satellites up there. As of January of this year, 1,035 Starlink satellites had been launched. So that's why a lot of people are seeing these things up there in the sky, and it's not a UFO. It's satellite.
And he's got more to finish this project that they're going to complete over the next year or so.
10,000 more, apparently. SpaceX plans on launching more than 10,000 small satellites into low orbit.
And it's so outside the box what he's doing. And in low orbit, that way you have this satellite signal to reach internet. And I know Ricky has a Starlink satellite for where he's at. He loves it. And I know a lot of people don't have internet in certain places like you touched on, and this is hopefully going to alleviate that issue moving forward, and if not alleviate it completely, at least offer a lot of relief in those areas. And like you said, thank God for Como Connect. I got them now at our new place, and I'm telling you what, it's awesome.
Wild Will, brand new house.
Yeah, baby.
Moved in by Sunrise Movers. Aren't those guys great?
I can't say enough, honestly, about Sunrise Movers. We'll talk about them again. But those guys are as good as it gets, and if it wasn't for them, I probably would still be recovering from the move.
You'd probably be at the doctor.
They are incredible. And so UFO means unidentified flying object.
Right.
Everyone kind of relates that to aliens, correct?
Right, yeah, absolutely.
But it is a UFO makes sense because you don't know. It's unidentified. It's a flying object. Doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial activity, But the UFOs you're spotting most likely are part of Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink project. Over 2,000 satellites launched in low orbit, 10,000 plus more coming across the country.
It's incredible.
And you said the world, so pretty exciting. Okay, next topic, one that I have mixed emotions on are food trucks.
Yeah.
Super popular as the culture changes in America. People's tendencies and habits change, and no longer are franchises as big of a draw for a lot of people when they travel. And things like small diners, mom and pop shops are back in, and that includes food trucks. A lot of places you go. Well, we know we have some food trucks here at the lake, and I start thinking, where's a great place for these food trucks? Well, how about on the Bagnell Dam Strip during a bunch of these events when it's so busy? Well, not so fast. According to Lake Expo, the city of Lake Ozark is not on board with food trucks on the Bagnell Dam Strip.
Yeah, and this is one of those sticky problems that you need good government to help figure out what's the best way to deal with this, because there are two good sides to this.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've got the businesses, the restaurants down on the strip, that if food trucks come in, it's really going to hurt them, right? And it might drive them out of business. Do you want your restaurants down on the strip to be hurt by food trucks and go out of business, or do you want to protect them and keep them there? By the way, there's some great eating places down on the strip, man. But
And we both like to eat.
And I mean, you're a foodie, you know what you're eating. I don't know, I just put it in, But so these food trucks, they want in the strip because they know that's a ripe place for business. They're going to get big business, but then would that hurt the restaurants that are there? So that's what the Planning and Zoning Commission is dealing with. They've had discussions on this, their last two P&Z meetings, Planning and Zoning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and they're trying to figure this, and right now they're saying, they made it clear, food trucks will not be allowed in the C1 zones. Those are the commercial districts, namely the Strip, okay? But there are places they're allowed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're allowed in Osage Beach, Camdenton, and all that stuff. Right now, just not the Strip. And I personally think that's probably a good idea. I mean, as much as it might be, nice, certainly for the food trucks, maybe even for the people walking around down on the strip, it would not be good for the businesses, the eating establishments.
I almost think there could be a happy medium, because full-time and just allowing them to be there anytime, that could pull away from your business. But I'll tell you, it was about 2 months ago that Unique and I and her mom and her cousins and her sister, we all went down to the strip to eat at a restaurant, and we got put on a waiting list. This was a Thursday evening prior to the busy season being here, and initially it was supposed to be an hour and 10 minutes. We waited 2 hours to get to our table.
Wow.
Had a great meal, but I actually feel like with the influx of people and the lack of parking down there on the strip currently, that food trucks could be a really good thing. If you look at the sistering city, Osage Beach, they do allow food trucks, and here's where they try to level out the playing field, because the argument is from the brick and mortar businesses, listen, they're not paying the same kind of sales tax, they don't have the same kind of overhead, they're not as vested into this city as we are, they can't just come during the busy times. So the city of Osage Beach, back in '94, they had an ordinance that come out where your city business license to conduct business in the city for an average business was $35 per year. However, for a vendor truck, something like a food truck that doesn't have a brick and mortar, that fee's $500. So that's over 15 times higher than it is for brick and mortar places. And one local vendor that was quoted, or food truck that was quoted in Lake Expo's story, said, I went ahead and bit the bullet and just paid the $500, but I would like to see that change moving forward. I would like to see that fee stay about like that. That makes sense. Money goes to the city, and then offer certain times, certain events that food trucks could come in and help alleviate some of those waiting lists. And it's not all the places, but if food trucks are down there, they're not offering the same kind of thing. If you want to go sit down at a restaurant and you want to have an hour and a half experience and enjoy an appetizer and a meal and a cocktail, you're going to go sit down at a restaurant. Now, if you're down there with your kids and you want to get a corn dog or a hot dog or a funnel cake or some volcano nachos or something like that, and you want to keep walking to see the cars and see the vendors, well, then by God, they should have that option. So I bet there will be some kind of happy medium.
See, maybe you should run for Planning and Zoning Commission.
No,
That's a good idea. Wild Will on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I think that our mayor, our city government in both Lake Ozark and Osage Beach have everything where it needs to be, and they'll work towards a happy medium. But I see it from both perspectives because my family owns a restaurant.
There are two good sides, right?
And it does seem unfair if you're going to take advantage. You've been on the strip, paying taxes, invested in the community, and then your busiest weekend, 10 food trucks pop up, and you lose 50% of your business from last year. That would be an issue and probably wouldn't be fair. So hopefully there will be some kind of happy medium. Now, speaking of city government, big shout out to longtime Lake Ozark City Administrator Dave Van D, who is set to retire.
Yep, that's right. 37 years in public office. He's retiring, has been with Lake Ozark 12 years. Just announced his resignation, which will be effective end of October, I believe. And everything I hear about this guy, usually with government people, some people like him, some people don't like him. Seems like everybody liked this guy. They thought he did a pretty good job. Moved here from Iowa. He was city administrator there. He said he's leaving the city on a path that he's very proud of. Things are headed in the right direction. Things are going well. He was instrumental in starting the city on the path to resolve its need for better streets, especially Bagnell Dam Boulevard. Their strip, 2 significant ballot issues were approved this last year that will help finance a lot of what he's got in motion for Lake Ozark. So apparently he's, at that place where he's decided, I've done what I can do. I'm ready to step out, and take a break. So I guess a big thanks to this guy for all the work that he did for City of Lake Ozark. Yeah,
big thanks and big congratulations. Retirement always an exciting time. It seems like this guy has certainly earned it. Okay, so quick discussion. I saw some crazy posts on Lake area happenings, and of course with our governor coming out saying no more unemployment assistance for pandemic relief. Looks like people are going to be going back to work at an all-time high here at the Lake area. And so it's brought up some discussion that a lot of people don't feel like the people that normally work have been at home collecting unemployment. They're starting to feel like Lake businesses aren't paying their employees enough. And so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing all of these posts and all these people taking these stance, and they want 14, 15, 16 bucks an hour for doing a job that when I was 15 to 18, I was getting paid, $6.30 an hour for, and yet I had to put in that sweat equity, had to get up there. And how do you feel about people just entitled to 15 bucks an hour?
Well, and again, this is where there's two sides to the issue. It's great if you can afford to pay, the most that you can. That's fantastic. But a lot of the business owners can't afford that, right? So if they're forced to pay that, then they're going to raise their prices. It's going to come out of something else. It's going to cost the consumer. So there's always, there's somebody going to pay for it in some way. Now there is a huge need for workers here. So just, cost and effect, that'll drive wages up, you would think.
Yeah.
So I'm sure wages are going up anyway around here.
Yeah, and they will be. And another argument to this whole topic is it's not just about the money, it's also about valuing and appreciating your people. And I saw a lot of people comment on this thread that went on and on that, not only do I want to have, a decent wage and make enough money to afford to live, but I want to feel valued and appreciated and like I'm part of something. And there was a lot of gripes that a lot of the business owners did not create that kind of environment. But here's my issue. Everyone's complaining about not being able to make it and think times are tough and you can't afford to keep your bills paid. Well, in the same breath, those are the people that have brand new iPhones, brand new cars, living out of their means, are eating out 5 or 6 nights a week. So I don't think it's a poverty issue. I think it's a money management and a priority issue.
Absolutely.
If you're only bringing in $900 a month, you don't be spending $700 a month on your games, your gadgets, and your cigarettes. And so I'm not saying that's always the case, but we have to live within our means, because if you go to a third world country, that's poverty in a lot of those places that don't have running water, don't have shelter, never see electricity. Yet we, in America, with internet, the newest iPhone, the newest video game console, going to the movies, going, on trips.
Hot water. Just something as simple as hot water. You go to third world countries, they don't have hot water, or electricity like you were saying. We've got it really easy. We're pretty spoiled here.
And that's my point is we're not living in poverty. But when they talk about the poverty line of the lake, there's people that are low income, but they're still spending more money. You just have to live within your means. And I can tell you this, my mom and dad literally raised my oldest sister in a trailer that didn't always have running water and worked their butt off, but they managed. Cloth diapers, they washed them. I mean, times were tough, times were different, but they made it. And they found a way to manage. So my take is, I think all employers should value their employees. And if they don't, you're not going to have good employees. And in the long run, I think wages are going to have to go up because as the affordable housing is harder to get and the cost of living at the lake is going up, people want to be able to afford and be here in the community. But a lot of people, it's just that money management and decisions.
It's a big thing, and a lot of times they're not taught that.
Right.
Kids in school, sometimes you wonder what are they teaching them. You get kids that are in their 20s and you have to teach them how to write a check. Because they don't know things
But
simple
you know what they do
like
know?
that.
All 7,313 digits of pi, they could tell you that.
There you go. And they certainly know how to use a computer, an iPhone, and all that stuff.
So interesting, just a hot topic around the lake that I've seen. So real quick, weekly Dogecoin update.
Are you rich?
Well, no. It had after last week's big epic crash following Elon Musk Saturday Night Live appearance, it went all the way down after last week's show, Friday, to 38 cents. And I was a little scared for a few minutes. Made a recovery, got back up to 58 cents. And then time of recording today, it was floating right about 50 cents. So I still think Dogecoin's going to get over $1.25 by the end of the year. So now wouldn't be a bad time if you're not in. Put a little money in there, 50 cents a share. Put $100. What's 50 bucks?
Yeah, what's 50 bucks?
What's 50 bucks? Throw that in. All right, Chris, what's our inspirational quote of the week?
All right, you ready for this? This is from Jack Dempsey. You know who Jack Dempsey is? He's a former heavyweight boxing champion.
Okay.
So Jack Dempsey, short and sweet, he says a champion is someone who gets up when he can't. All right, that's coming from a boxer. You get knocked down, you get knocked out, blah, you're laying there, I'd like to stay down here. He says a champion is someone who gets up when he can't.
That's deep. That's
that
heavy.
Is deep, heavy.
To figure that out. If you can't, but you must, how can I?
Some of those sports quotes are, I
always try to find a way to bring it back around. I don't have a way to bring that back around, but that's good.
I do like that, though, because there is a point where we have a choice of staying down or getting up.
Right.
And I think what Jack was saying is if there's any way you can get up, you climb yourself up and you get back up on your feet.
Great words, man. Great words.
Yep.
All right, I want trivia. I want to see if I can crack the trivia code.
Wild Will, ready for the trivia?
Shoot.
Okay, Memorial Day's coming up, right? Okay, so what was Memorial Day called before it was called Memorial Day? It was something before it was officially called Memorial Day.
Independence Day #1.
Okay. First Memorial Day celebrated after the Civil War. The event went by the name Decoration Day because flowers were put on the graves.
That's so stupid. I'm glad they changed it. Decoration Day?
Wow.
No, not stupid what they did, but to call it Decoration Day?
Decoration Day. Because they were decorating the graves with flowers.
Memorial Day is way better.
It is better.
Because you're adding to the memorial for the fallen. Decoration Day?
Decoration Day, yeah.
Who came up with that?
Right after the Civil War. It was, I think it was the bunch of widows, basically. Widows and families that just started decorating the
Let me
graves.
redact my last statement, okay?
That's coming from your Wild Will.
He put it in my script, I'm telling you right now, okay?
Yeah, that's right. It was.
So that's the first one. Tell me the second. You got two or just
No,
one?
that was just that. But I do have two questions for you.
Okay.
I'm
ready. Fast
to get
two.
Wild Will to get to know you better. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah?
It's kind of like a thriller, psychological thriller, keeps you guessing until the very end.
Okay.
He goes and visits a psych ward to find this missing person, and through it he ends up as part of the psych ward. You never really know at the end what happened or killer. Just
interesting. Okay.
Phenomenal.
Well, there you go from Wild
movie.
Will. Shutter Island. What year was that?
I think 2007, 2008.
Okay. There you go. And who was your favorite actor of all time?
Will Smith.
Will
Still
Smith,
is.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Younger generation.
Yeah.
Younger generation answers.
Who would you have said
Wild
if I
Will.
asked you your favorite actor of all time?
Favorite actor of all time? I think maybe You got to throw Tom Cruise in there. I mean, every movie he's been in has been great. You know, Gene Hackman was also really great. He was in some great movies.
But Gene Hackman's a legend.
But you know what? I'm going to change that. Robert Duvall. He's the greatest of all time.
Okay, there you go. Robert Duvall. You heard it right here. All right, so as we wrap up, guys, do not forget this Sunday is our season finale of the Roof Masters Sing Your Heart Out competition at Captain Ron's.
Yeah.
KB will be in the house joining our judges panel with you, Mary Kay, and Philip. Going to be a great week, and if you want to connect with Lake TV, we're all over the place, and we're also coming to Amazon Fire. Big shout out to Jill Ray and her crew here at Slumberland Furniture. For Lake TV, this is Uncle Chris. I'm Wild Will. See you next week.